Okay, so we recently switched churches. Now, I had bought me a brand new Bible for the new church, okay? I messed up. Because when you get into it, on a lot of these, see if I can find, I won't be able to find one. You see all these things here? Now, when we go to church, we go to Bible study first, then we go to church, and they move really fast. This is not super giant print, and I am a very old man who can't see very well, and it takes a while for my eyes to get situated on something. So with all the notes that's in this study Bible, it made me have to turn multiple pages where I should not have had to, because none of this is text. All right, this is just, right?
The study notes.
It's just, yeah, it's study material. So, yes, this here was not a good idea. So
No.
my wife, being as gracious as she is, she says, "I'll take it."
I'll keep it. This is a good study Bible. Look, this is the ESV study Bible.
Right.
It's a great resource. But this is not necessarily
Right.
something you take to church
And
with you.
the other thing about it that I was having a hard time adjusting to is each, what would you call it? Each quote or phrase is, they're not separated like they are.
The verses,
the verses are not separated like they are in the other Bibles. So the little numbers actually wind up being in the text. I could not, I could not focus on it quick enough to follow the preacher man. So, what did I do? I ordered this one. It says right there, Holy Bible.
This is the NASB version, but I'm a
Super blind old man print.
super giant print, which is kind of like the one I use.
Yes.
For like things like that, but it's similar. The translation is really similar to the one, the ESV translation.
And if you look, see, here's your chapter, and then
verse by verse.
verse by verse, 2, 3, 4, and they're all separated, okay? And, 23, 2, and see how it goes? So, yes.
And another thing that was important for him is the red letters.
Yes, I like the red letters. I don't know why. I just think that,
Yeah, I never even knew that was a thing, but...
well, yeah, I mean, it's like that in my King James Version, which I've used for years. I like that one.
Yeah.
But no one except for us super old men used King James.
Yeah.
So I was trying to want a Bible that the younger preachers were...
and they all are, every single one of them.
Every one of them. Now,
it's either ESV or
I guess
NASB.
let's give a quick breakdown. Why did we need to switch churches? Well, it's simple. I liked our Bible study at our old church. I truly liked it. They were great people. Their youth ministry, they kept saying they were looking for a youth minister. And they just, for some reason, they weren't coming up with a youth member. Or a minister, and that leads to unsupervised stuff. And when kids are unsupervised, and it's kind of weird. And my kids are like 10 and 12 or somewhere around there. Anyway, they're young. And then that led to a 16-year-old child trying to ride roughshod over the entire class. And, a little bit of a drama thing going on there. So I didn't think much of that, My kid dropped an F-bomb in the class. Well, it wasn't in class. They were playing pool. My two kids were talking to themselves. This other person eavesdropped on their conversation and got snouty because she, a bully, right? I mean, this kid's a bully. So, hey, language. So my kid said, well, I'm sorry. All right? That's it. End of it. She come out there to the other room, and she told me my kids cussed in the other room, so I went back there, and I disciplined them, right? That's it. It's over. And we went to Bible study. I never even thought nothing of it. And then when I come out of Bible study, some lady says, I want to talk to you guys. And we're like, well, okay. So we go over there outside the chapel. And all of a sudden, she just goes off. And I told her, I said, look, ma'am, I explained to her she was right. My kid shouldn't have cussed in there. And I explained to her that they had already apologized. And anything else that was happening was in that girl's head. And I said, that's all I got to say about that. So I gave my Bible to my wife, said, here, hold this. I went to the bathroom. I came back, and this lady was still shouting at my wife, not 8 feet maybe, from the minister.
Yeah, the pastor.
From the pastor. He's standing right there, listening to all that, and he did nothing. And so we were like, okay, we looked. That night we went to another church. So we'll keep you posted on the church hunt.
I have high hopes for it.
Yes.
We went to the evening service.
Yeah, on Sunday, yeah.
On Sunday, and which that's what right off the bat, which I missed from the very first church we went to.
Actually reading the Bible.
They had morning and evening services on Sunday. I mean, I want our days to be a Sunday to be dedicated to that, and I was missing that.
Yeah.
Sunday, that evening service. I like that. And the pastor that gave the first sermon on the sermon on that Sunday evening had 3 points that he wanted to make. 4 points was it ended up being.
Yes.
But none of them were his opinion.
Right.
He says, "Oh yeah, his sermon was about why certain things, what things are important to God."
Right.
And then he told you what those things were, and then he used the Bible.
Yes.
To prove to you where on the Bible all that stuff is. He says, here's the verse for that. Here's the here. Do you want another verse, and he moved really fast, even for me.
Oh yeah.
I think at the end I just ended up. Now I think I'm just gonna write the.
That's
verses.
why I had a hard time with that Bible.
I'm gonna write the verses and look them up when I come home, and then we had class on Wednesday. And
we took the kids.
We took the kids, and there's
genuine structure.
Yeah, there's classes separated by ages, so there's no 16-year-old hanging out with 13-year-olds, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
They but the other thing was like the pastor who's also a pastor there. The class was really good. He made they had been covering the I am statements from Jesus, evidently, and we went through the last one, evidently, last week with the last one of those statements. But I gotta tell you, it's been a while since I sat on a class where I really went like, oh, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
That's good. We learned something, and again, it wasn't his opinion.
Right.
It wasn't what he thought it should be. It wasn't what he believed he should be. He said, here's what it is.
It's not I believe, it's I know, and here's where it says it.
Grab the Bible, and here it is, and here it is, and here. This is not my opinion. This is not what I think. This is not what. Then at the end, we all came together for singing and worshiping, and then he kind of wrapped everything up in a nice little bow with a little bit of what I would call more like his own color onto like a little mini sermon, and it was great. Yeah.
But that other church, I mean, I did like a lot of the people there. It was great. Too. I mean, but yeah, I am not going to let my kids get bullied. And that's what happens when they're unsupervised, I mean, they were literally unsupervised, so, that stuff happens. It's no one's fault. But, and then it was over, but for that lady to do that stuff and the preacher to stand there, the pastor, and just listen to it without saying a word, I'm like, yeah, it's time to go. So we left, and we did manage to find church that night, like I told you. And so far, I got high hopes for this church, but our Bible study class, I am truly going to miss it. I don't want to say his name, but the brother that was in charge
that was leading our class.
Yeah, him and his wife both were great people. I really will miss that. So.
Yeah, and everybody there was really nice.
Really nice.
We talked about actual things that,
down the rabbit hole.
We would make, it
practical
was
application.
Yeah, it was a really good discussion of the Bible every time we went there. Opinions and stuff. But yeah, we'll miss that.
We'll miss that.
I think that was one of the reasons we hung around as long.
Yeah, because for the last 4 or 5 weeks, the pastor had been drifting off on, hypocrites and whatever, and drinking, and he was just like working his way through the Bible when we first got there, and I liked that.
Verse by verse.
Yeah, verse by verse, and then all of a sudden he started jumping everywhere, and I'm like, well, I don't know if I'm into this. But
we were really enjoying the
Bible class,
class, and the kids were not unhappy.
The kids weren't unhappy. That's our major thing with the church, is finding a place where the kids can fit in. Mm-hmm. And you got to understand that my kids are, they don't let people bully them, okay? So this individual that was bullying them found out that she wasn't going to get her way. So then it seeped out of that room, and she got other people involved for some crazy, right? And I'll just tell you right off the bat, she a drama queen, all right? I mean, she is a high-intensity drama queen. And yeah, I'm not going to...
I said that, and
yes, you did.
I regret that.
You do regret it?
I do regret saying that.
But the truth is the truth.
Lady, we're, as Christians, we're called to behave in better behavior. And it just kind of came out of my mouth. But I probably shouldn't have said that. But, sometimes you just have to speak the truth.
Well, I mean, she stood there. Here you go, right? This lady, I mean, she said her piece, and I'm like, okay, let me tell you, you're right. My boy should not have said something, okay? Yeah. And they did apologize.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side to that girl absolutely should not have been eavesdropping in a conversation between my daughter and my son, and she was. She absolutely had no business or authority, as far as the church is concerned, to get involved in anything. She did do the right thing. She came out and said that my son said something in church that he shouldn't have said. I immediately went back there and corrected him, okay? There's a word for what happened. Kids, all right? But when she didn't get her way, then she feels like she has to cause more drama in the whole church. As far as I'm concerned, that was the deal breaker, because that pastor let that woman yell at my wife for no particular reason for a good 10 minutes, because I went to the bathroom and came back, and she's still standing there screaming at it. So I'm like, okay, so we got no leadership in the youth ministry. And as far as I was concerned, the overall leadership in the church failed right there too. That's just my opinion, but yeah, I mean, we'd already been talking about leaving anyway when the preacher started just going off.
Well, like, okay.
Yeah, but so it all worked out good. We're still going to church. We got another church we're going to. Bought a new Bible for this church.
I'll tell you what thing is not lacking in churches in this little town.
No.
I hesitate to say this.
Sooner or later, we're going to find a church where they just study the Bible, this book right here, or this book right here. I mean...
one of the 20 books.
Yeah, all right. So, I mean, and that's all I want. I mean, I am not looking to listen to concerts. I'm not listening. I'm just not into it. So
I like this. There's no musical instruments on there, because... There's a biblical case to be made for not using musical instruments.
There's one to be made for certain instruments, but I don't even know if they exist. I didn't mind the piano and the guitar, I'll tell you the truth. But that's not what I'm going to church for anyway. But, we'll see what happens.
2-3 songs and give me a nice long sermon.
Yes.
I'm good with that. I enjoy that. I'll sing and everything, but I want to hear my pastor pastoring us.
Right. But, the purpose...
Shepherding. What is it?
Yeah, shepherding. I want to be shepherded. Yeah. Yes. But, the purpose of this channel is we talk about our gardening. We talk about our private lives. So, we moved on, so we figure we should tow this out there.
Yeah, that's it.
And, if the brother that was in charge of the Bible class ever looks at this, which I seriously doubt.
I doubt it.
Dude, you were great. And I really do appreciate your effort. And your wife, too. She was absolutely a peach of a woman.
Okay.
All right.
And we'll be using that little phrase they use for the rest of our...
Oh, yeah. We're not going to say that, but it was great. I loved it.
We use it all
I would have loved to have been there. All right, anyway. Okay. Bye-bye, folks.
Bye.